Hey guys! I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Boom Shaka and I welcome you to my channel. I'm so grateful that you guys are listening, subscribing, and commenting on my channel. I really appreciate the support. In this video, I want to speak to you guys about authenticity, our living our true selves, our ideal selves in this world, and how INFJs have this desire within them from a very young age where they are obsessed with the idea of living their true self, of living their authentic self, of being their authentic self around the people around them, around the people that are around them. Terrible. Okay, so why is this such a deep desire within us? Why do we care about it so much? Why do we spend so much time thinking about it and dreaming about it and reflecting on it? For example, for me, I'm always observing myself as that witness observer. I'm always watching myself to see if I slip up. And it happens quite often where I'll be roaming through the world, I'll be going to events, doing different things, and I'll notice myself taking on the chameleon characteristics of the people around me, chameleon-like characteristics. Or what I will be doing is that I'll kind of slip up and perhaps start behaving in a different manner than I normally do, just because I don't want to show my true self to the people around me for some odd reason, whatever it might be. And so I'm always watching myself to see if I'm going to do that, if I'm going to slip up and stop showing my true self to the world, put on a mask, a very thick mask, and start behaving in a manner that's not really my true self, right? It's not really what I would like to portray to the world. It's not the kind of person that I want to be, right? And so, of course, when you are playing a role, sometimes what happens is that you get so deep into playing that role that it becomes your identity, right? And I think that's what I fear the most, is that I've played a role in the past a lot because I was younger and it was a little bit harder to be authentic because I was afraid of not being accepted. I was afraid of being rejected. I was afraid of being ostracized or thrown away by the people that I loved or cared around me, the people that were my friends or family or colleagues or co-workers or even bosses and teachers. And so I wanted all those people to like me and want me around. And I thought the best way to do it as a child, as a young person, was to pretend to be what they wanted me to be, to play that role that they wished me to play, to satisfy their urges or desires. That's basically what it is. People like being around people who are like them. A lot of times we're not like the people around us, right? As INFJs, we're pretty much unique in a lot of different things we care about or think about. But in order to fit in as children, we will play that role. We will pretend like we love pop groups or pop stars, or we love reality TV shows, or we'll do all those things in order to fit into that group as a young'un or as a teenager. You do that a lot, and that's fine. That's a phase in your life. But as we get older, and especially as I got into my 30s, I realized that I was extremely tired of playing that role. Any role, it doesn't matter what the role was, as long as I wasn't living authentically or being true to myself, my true self, right? Whatever that is. As long as I wasn't doing that, I felt kind of sick and disgusted with myself. I felt tired, I felt exhausted. That's why a lot of times I didn't go outside. I spent a lot of time at home because I didn't want to play that role. I didn't want to slip up and pretend to be someone else. And so I just spent all my time at home where I could be whoever I wanted to be, which is basically my authentic self. As I said, as soon as I turned 30, I'm pretty sure that was like the turning point for me. I realized, all right, that's it. I'm old now and I don't need to pretend anymore because I don't really need friends. And if I have friends and they care about me as I am, then that's the only kind of friend I really want. And my family realized that I'm weird and they're not really going to make me fit into those molds that they had for me. So it was perfect. I didn't have to pretend anymore. I also didn't have really a full-time job where I had to go in and pretend to work. Or I had a job at that point, but eventually I didn't. At that point, it wasn't a big deal because they accepted me for who I was. And if they didn't, then it was just like, well, hasta la vista, baby, kind of thing, right? I'll go away. And so that was, as I said, the turning point for me. And I really appreciated those moments where, it was easy for me to say, oh, I guess I could play a role, but I don't want to. And just to be able to say that, when everyone else around us is kind of going and fitting into that mold and changing themselves, it was refreshing for me to be able to say, no, I don't think so. I'm not going to do that. And to step back and step away, or just even remove myself from the situation where it was required for me to play a role. Now, of course, I'm not speaking about, acting or improv. If you go to an improv class, you're supposed to pretend to play all these roles. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about real life. When you're walking through the world or you're going to an event and everyone is boisterous and extroverted and they're pretending to, are playing a role somehow, and you are expected to fit into that role by playing along. And this happens quite often because a lot of our friends as INFJs are going to be extroverts, right? And they're going to expect us to behave similarly to them because that's just extroversion. They just want us to be accepted. They want us to be around them and they want us to fit in. That's why they kind of adopt us as friends, right? They love us. But I've noticed for myself at least, and this was a big fear for myself. I think the reason why I was afraid to be authentic was because I was afraid that they wouldn't accept me, that I would lose all my friends, I would be alone and sitting in a corner by myself crying. But interestingly enough, the more I come into my own, the more I realize who I am, the more people around me accept me for who I am. And I know it's such a conundrum. You actually think of it and you're thinking to yourself, no, that can't be it. I have to pretend. I have to play that role. I have to be that person that they want me to be. And yes, a couple of people are going to be like that and they're going to fall off because they're going to realize you're not what they wanted you to be. And they're going to be like, all right, I guess we're not going to be friends anymore. And so cool, bye-bye. And they go off and they find people who can be who they want them to be. And then you keep the people around you who are all right with who you are, as you are, right? Our silly, quirky, weird, dark sense of humor, all of those random things that make us who we are. And I portray all of that among my friends, and they know that I have a weird sense of humor where I talk about death and make fun of death a lot, or I love talking about death, or things like I love talking about quantum physics and spirituality, and I have weird moments where all of a sudden I'll switch off and I'll need to go home because I need to recharge. Things like that, they know all of this stuff about me and they've accepted me for who I am. And that really allows me more and more so to live authentically in this world. And I think that's one of the ardent desires of an INFJ on this planet. I think that's one of those things that really makes us blossom, is if we are living in the world that we've created, because we have to create this world. We have to bring these kind of people into our lives and we have to remove those people who don't let us live authentically. And so when we create this kind of world, we're able to live authentically in it. And that is the kind of world, that's the kind of life that all of us as INFJs are desiring from the deepest part, the deepest crevices of our heart. That's what we want. Because as I said, for the longest time and throughout our lives, we are misunderstood. Not only that, but we are also told that we're not really perfect as we are. No, if we're going to be our true selves, that's not the way we want you to be. You have to be that way. And so constantly we're told that our true selves are not really that cool, and maybe it's not something that you want to show off to people. People are not going to like you if you do that in front of them, or people are not going to be friends with you if you show that side of yourself to them, things like that. And so little by little, we kind of form masks that we put on when we know we're going to a particular gathering and they want us to pretend to be this person. Then we'll put on that mask and go to that gathering and be that, right? As I said though, when you get older, as you get older, you'll realize that those masks are no longer necessary, because it really is a great way of culling out those people who don't really care about your true self, who are just using you as a puppet to play in their game, right? And who wants to play that game anyways? It's just too exhausting. It's tiring. I don't want to do this anymore, right? And so I think that's what it is. Perhaps it's the lack of energy as I get older, although I do have a lot of energy, but not to devote to those meaningless things anymore, right? And so I don't want to devote myself to that drama where I have to participate as a person that I'm not. I don't want to participate in that anymore. If you want me to play a role, it better be an acting thing or like an improv show or theater, because that's the only way I would like to play a role anymore, right? I don't want to play roles anymore where I stamp down on my authentic self and say to myself, you're not good enough as you are, as you truly are, so go on and put that mask on, because if you do, then that's the only way you're going to be accepted on this planet, right? And that's such a sad way to look at it. But unfortunately, that's the world that we live in a lot of times. That's one of the reasons why we spend a lot of times outside of the spotlight and in the background, because we don't want to be those people who have to play a role in this world. We want to do what we want, and we want to live as we want, and we want to be who we truly are around everyone. And that's my ardent goal, or my ardent desire, or my goal with everything that I do, is whenever I go meet up with anyone, I want to be able to say that I was my true self that day, right? If I go back home after an event, or if I, ventured out and I did something and I came back home, I want to be able to say with a clear and pure heart that yes, I was my true self today. I did not play any roles. I did not put on any masks, and I feel good about that. And I think that's what an INFJ in general is desiring for themselves, is to be able to say that every single day of their life. I was myself today, and I was accepted, perhaps, or perhaps not accepted, but it doesn't matter. I was myself today, and I was myself today as well, and then I was myself today as well, right? And the more of those days of being ourselves we can accumulate, the better we feel about ourselves, the more we're able to accept ourselves, the more people around us accept us, and it's a vicious, awesome cycle of gratitude and love, okay? All right, I hope this makes sense to you guys. I wanted to share this with you because I think a lot of you guys are younger, and perhaps you're going through that cycle where you are trying to fit into some roles, and it's okay. Don't berate yourself for it, because that's just a phase in your life. And as you get older, you're going to realize, little by little, that you can stop playing those games and you can stop trying to fit into boxes that are not really meant for you, okay? And little by little, as you get older, you will start showing more of your true self and realizing what your true self is, right? Because as a child, you perhaps don't know, because you've been playing so many roles, you have no idea. Who really am I? Am I this person? Am I that person? Not really. I am neither of those people. I'm this person. So you'll realize that as time goes on. So don't even worry about it. Just take your time, be patient with yourself, learn about yourself, and eventually you'll get there as well, okay? Again, if you guys have any questions about this video topic or any other topics, please message me anytime. I'm here for you guys, and I shall see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.